Okay, so this is page number 14 in your notes. This is Perek Hey, Mishnah Bet, the second Mishnah of the fifth Perek. Let's go to the words first. Zachar means to remember. Maskir means to mention, because by mentioning we're remembering something. Geshem is rain. Sha'al is ask, to request. Okay, number 4, Shana is a year. And 5, Badal is to make a difference, to differentiate, to distinguish. Like we're going to learn about Avdalah, which means to separate. You can write the word separate if you wish. Okay, so in order to understand this Mishnah, let's go through a couple of things first of all. This Mishnah will talk about some additions that we make to the Amidah, which is the Shmoneh Esrei. And those additions are made sometimes because of the season that we're saying the Tefillah, or sometimes because of the particular day. Some days we add certain things to the Amidah. We'll see what and why. So in order to understand this a little bit more, it's important to realize that the Amidah is divided into 3 main sections. Okay? So section number 1 is where we praise Hashem, so that when we stand to pray, we first need to understand the greatness of Hashem, that Hashem is all-powerful, so we have the right approach to Hashem. The second section is where we actually make our requests. We ask for different things from Hashem, and we're going to see that there's 13 different things that we ask Hashem. The third section is when we're finishing, we give thanks to Hashem, and we're going to see that there's 3 parts to that. So let's go back to section number 1. So section 1 is made of 3 brachot. We start the Amidah by saying Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Avoteinu. That's why it's called Avot, because we mentioned the forefathers. That is our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. And there we mention about the promises that he made to them, that he will bless them and their descendants and always be there for them. The second bracha starts with Ata Gibor. That's why it's called Gevurot, because it talks about Hashem's might, His infinite power. And the third bracha starts with Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, and it ends with saying Baruch Ata Hashem Kel Kadosh, that Hashem is holy. So we talk about Hashem's holiness, meaning that He's not limited by time or space. Holiness means that He's above all those things. As we mentioned in section 2, we're going to mention 13 things where we actually begin to ask Hashem for things. We ask Hashem, for example, for wisdom. We ask Him for forgiveness. We ask Him for health. We ask Him to bless the year so that we should be successful and have the ability to earn money and to support ourselves. We ask Hashem to rebuild Yerushalayim, and so on. In the third section, as we mentioned before, we're giving thanks, and we say 3 things there, 3 brachot. We start with V'techezena Eineinu V'shuvcha L'Tzion Berachamim. There we're asking that Hashem should bring back the service of the Beit HaMikdash, that He should accept our tefillot. And then we say Modim, which is Todah, Hoda'ah, Baruch Ata Hashem, Atov Shimcha U'lecha Na'eh Lehodot, to thank. We thank Hashem for the blessings that He does for us, the miracles that He does for us all the time, even without us realizing it. And the last bracha is Sim Shalom Tova Bracha, where we ask Hashem to bless us with peace, because peace it makes it possible to enjoy everything else. If you have everything but you don't have peace, then the Chachamim understood that that's not really a good blessing. So therefore we need Shalom. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. So the section number 1, as we mentioned before, is composed of 3 brachot. That's recited in every single Shmoneh Esrei. That means weekday, Shabbat, Yamim Tovim. Every single Shmoneh Esrei has the same brachot at the beginning. Starts the same way. Magen Avraham, Ata Gibor, Ata Kadosh. That's made in every Amidah. Now, the second section, this 13 brachot, so that we only say on the weekdays, but not on Shabbat and Yom Tov. Shabbat and Yom Tov, we don't ask for personal things. Instead, we take out those 13 brachot and we say one bracha that talks about the special meaning of that day. If it's Shabbat, how special Shabbat is. If it's Pesach, we talk about Pesach, but we don't have the 13 we have instead one bracha. And the third section, the last three brachot where we give thanks, that again is every Shmoneh Esrei. Every single Shmoneh Esrei has the same three brachot. So if you think about it, every Shmoneh Esrei starts the same way, ends the same way, and what changes is the middle section. On the weekdays we have 13 for a total of 19. On Shabbat we substitute the 13 with 1, so the Shmoneh Esrei of every Shabbat and Yom Tov is made of 7. There's only one exception. On Rosh Hashanah we'll talk about that it's made of 9 brachot. Okay. So now let's talk about a few concepts that are going to come up in this Mishnah. The Mishnah is going to mention Gevurot Geshamim. Literally that means the might of Hashem, the might of rain, Geshem, meaning we see the might of Hashem when He brings rain. That shows it. So Gevurot Geshamim is accomplished. We mentioned this. We highlight the power of Hashem to bring rain with the words Mashiv Ruach Umorida Ageshem, that Hashem causes the wind to blow and brings about rain, because as we know, the winds are involved in bringing about the rains that come. Okay? Then there is a bracha called Tchiyat HaMeitim, which is the second bracha of the Amidah, which talks about that Hashem has the power to bring back the dead to life, right? That He revives the dead, right? This shows Hashem's incredible power, that there's no other being that has the ability to restore life to something or someone who has passed away. The Mishnah also mentions something called Sheilat Geshamim. You see the same word here, but it's a little bit different. Gevurot Geshamim just means that we mention the might of Hashem. Sheilat Geshamim is that we actually ask for rain. And this is the words V'ten tal umatar livracha. We ask Hashem to please give. Ten is from the word noten. Tal is rain, is dew. Dew is that little soft moisture that you find sometimes in the early morning on the grass or in a car. Gentle, that's a gentle form of rain. So we ask Hashem, ten tal, bless us with dew, umatar, and rain for a blessing. Because obviously rain can be very destructive. So we ask Hashem that He should bless us with rain, but the rain should be for a blessing. Right? So we recognize His power, and we're asking, 10, please bless us. So note that Gevurot Geshamim is different than Sheilat Geshamim. Gevurot Geshamim, we mention, but we do not actually ask. We mention that Hashem has the power to bring rain, but we're not asking for rain. While in Sheilat Geshamim, we are actually asking Hashem to bless us for rain. And keep that in mind, because that's why they're going to be mentioned in two different sections of the Amidah. We know that in the beginning of the Amidah, we're not asking for anything. We're just we're recognizing God's greatness. It's only in the middle section where we are actually going to be asking for things. Okay, there is a bracha in the Amidah. It's called Birchat Hashanim. That is where we ask Hashem to bless the year. That refers to the 9th blessing. Okay, and when you count it, you see that it is actually the 5th request, in which we ask Hashem to bless this year with rain, crops, and all that we need to sustain ourselves. That's the name of that bracha. Okay, the 5th concept that we need for the Mishnah is to know what Avdalah is. As we saw before, the word Badal means to separate or to distinguish, to differentiate. This refers to the Avdalah. You can write it in English, you can write it in Hebrew, Hey, Bet, Dalet, Lamed, Hey, which we recite after the Stars Command, which marks the end of Shabbat. We welcome Shabbat and begin with the Kiddush, and at the end, when the Stars come out, we say goodbye to Shabbat by saying Avdalah. There are 2 types of Avdalah. One that is recited usually at home over a cup of wine, and we have a candle and the besamim, the spices. But we're going to learn that there's another type of Avdalah, which was added to the Amidah, and we include in the Shmoneh Esrei, and we'll see why they added this other type of Avdalah that is said then. Okay? So, this is the Mishnah. Maskirin Gevurot Geshamim B'Tchiyat HaMeitim. So the Mishnah tells us that we mention the fact that Hashem is the power to bring rain, we mentioned that in Tchiyat HaMitim. Okay, we'll stop over here and then we'll continue when we get together in class.